What's good, Knicks Nation? It's your boy Malik, and today we're about to dive deep into one of the most slept-on stories in the NBA. The rise of Deuce McBride. If you think you know everything about our backup guard, trust me, you're going to want to stick around for this one. We're talking about a potential sixth man of the year candidate who's about to shock the entire league. Knicks Nation, before we dive into our main story about Deuce McBride today, let me hit you with some quick Knicks updates. First up, the G League news. Our Westchester squad made some moves in last Saturday's draft, snagging both Landry Shamet and Matt Ryan with their top 2 picks. Now, this is pretty interesting for a couple reasons. For Shamet, this is actually a smart recovery move. He'll be able to work on rehabbing that dislocated shoulder while staying within the Knicks organization. As for Matt Ryan, here's where it gets interesting. There's a good chance we'll see Ariel Hukporti get converted from his 2-way contract to a regular NBA deal. If that happens, Ryan could slide into that open 2-way spot, which would let him bounce between Westchester and the main roster. So keep your eyes on these moves. They might seem small now, but they could have some interesting implications for our roster down the line. Now let's get into our main story about Deuce McBride. Let me start with a story that tells you everything you need to know about Deuce McBride. Just the other night against the Pacers, we're up 30 points, deep in garbage time. The Garden crowd is more focused on checking the World Series scores than watching the game. But Deuce, he's locked in, and what he does next speaks volumes. Our rookie, Ariel Hukporti, is about to check in, and McBride pulls him aside with some real talk. Make the most of these minutes. That's how I earned it. Y'all, that right there isn't just veteran leadership. That's someone who knows the value of every single minute on an NBA court. And who better to give that advice than Deuce? This man knows the grind because he lived it. Let me take you back a couple years. When McBride first got to New York as a second-round pick, he was barely seeing the floor. We're talking DNP after DNP. But here's the thing about Deuce. He never stopped working. While everyone else was focused on who was playing, he was in the gym, putting in work when nobody was watching. Now let's fast forward to today. Not only is McBride a key piece of our rotation, but he might just be the most reliable player coming off our bench. And the numbers. Oh, we got to talk about these numbers. At the time of the creation of this video, through our first 3 games, check this out. 15 points per game, 65% shooting from the field, 62% from 3-point range, elite point of attack defense. I know what you're thinking. Malik, it's a small sample size. And you're right, but let's look at last season's foundation. McBride was in the top 30 in the NBA in catch and shoot efficiency, hitting over 42% of those shots. He was also knocking down more than 40% of his pull-up jumpers. But here's what makes Deuce special. He's not just a shooter. Let me tell you about something that casual fans might not notice. McBride might only be listed at 6 feet 1 inch, but this man has a 6 feet 8 inch wingspan. That's longer than the A-Train, folks. This combination of length and his natural defensive instincts makes him a nightmare for opposing guards. Speaking of defense, let's talk about what sets McBride apart from other sixth-man candidates. Most guys who win that award are pure scorers, but Deuce? He's out here locking up some of the best guards in the league while getting buckets on the other end. That's rare. Now let's talk about something that really shows how smart our front office is. Last year, before McBride really broke out, the Knicks signed him to a 3-year, $13 million extension. At the time, some people were scratching their heads. Now, that might be one of the most team-friendly contracts in the entire NBA. Think about it. The Knicks saw enough in McBride's work ethic and potential to lock him up before anyone else caught on. And when it came time to make the big trade for Karl Anthony Towns, guess what? The front office was comfortable including Donte DiVincenzo in that deal because they knew what they had in Deuce. Even this preseason, coming off toe surgery that kept him off the court until August, McBride was balling out. We're talking 17.3 points per game, 37% from 3. And he's carried that momentum right into the regular season. But here's what really excites me about McBride's potential this year: his versatility. Let me break down all the ways he can impact a game. 1. Shooting. Elite catch and shoot player. Deadly pull-up game. Can score from all 3 levels. Second defense. point of attack specialist, uses length to disrupt passing lanes, can guard multiple positions. 3. Playmaking, improving as a facilitator, takes care of the ball, makes smart decisions in pick and roll. 4. Intangibles, high basketball IQ, great work ethic, team-first mentality. Now, let's talk about why I believe Deuce McBride is going to be in the running for 6th Man of the Year. The last time a Knick won this award was J.R. Smith back in 2013. But when you look at McBride's role and skill set, he fits the profile perfectly. He can create his own shot, play within the flow of the offense, and most importantly, he can close games because of his defense. Think about what that means for the Knicks in the playoffs. We've got a bench player who can give us instant offense, but won't be a liability on defense in crunch time. That's invaluable. And speaking of the playoffs, let's not forget how McBride stepped up when we needed him most last season. When injuries hit and we needed someone to step up, Deuce was ready. That's no accident. That's the result of all those hours in the gym when nobody was watching. This brings me back to that moment with Huck Porty. When McBride told him to make the most of those garbage time minutes, he was speaking from experience. He knows that every minute on an NBA court is an opportunity to earn trust, especially with a coach like Tom Thibodeau. And let me tell you something about Tibbs. He doesn't just hand out minutes. You've got to earn them. The fact that McBride has gone from barely playing to being a key rotation piece tells you everything you need to know about his development. Now, let's talk about what this means for the Knicks' championship hopes. We're trying to end a 51-year championship drought. To do that, we need more than just our stars. We need guys like Deuce McBride, players who can come off the bench and change the complexion of a game, players who won't back down from any challenge. So, Knicks Nation, I want to hear from you. Are you as hyped about Deuce McBride as I am? Do you think he's got a shot at 6th Man of the Year? What's your favorite part of his game? Drop your thoughts in the comments below and let me know if you want to see more deep dives into other players on our squad. Before we wrap up, let's recap why Deuce McBride is about to shock the NBA. 1. Elite shooting efficiency. 2nd, lockdown defense. 3. Constantly improving. 4. Perfect fit for his role. 5th, team-friendly contract. 6. Ready for bigger moments. The best part? This is just the beginning. McBride is only 23 years old. He's got plenty of room to grow, and he's got the work ethic to reach his potential. All right, Knicks fan, that's all I've got for today. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to smash that like button, hit subscribe, and turn on those notifications. We'll be here all season long with more in-depth Knicks content. This is Malik, signing off. Remember, whether you're a starter or the last man on the bench, every minute counts. Just ask Deuce McBride. Let's go, Knicks.